said that was all right. "Though perhaps it isn't a business matter," she suggested. I didn't say anything. She laughed, a short laugh with something sharp in it. "I'm really not ordinarily so much of a busybody as you probably think," she said gaily. "But you're so excessively secretive that I can't help being curious. You aren't a bootlegger, are you? Donald changes them so often." I let her get whatever she could out of a grin. A telephone bell rang downstairs. Mrs. Wilson stretched her green-slippered feet out toward the burning coal and pretended she hadn't heard the bell. I didn't know why she thought that necessary. She began, "I'm afraid I'll have," and stopped to look at the maid in the doorway. The maid said Mrs. Wilson was wanted at the phone. She excused herself and followed the maid out. She didn't go downstairs, but spoke over an extension within earshot. I heard, "Mrs. Wilson speaking." "Yes. I beg your pardon?" "Who? Can't you speak a little louder?" "What? Yes, yes. Who is this? Hello, hello." The telephone hook rattled. Her steps sounded down the hallway, rapid steps. I set fire to a cigarette and stared at it until I heard her going down the steps. Then I went to a window, lifted an edge of the blind, and looked out at Laurel Avenue and at the square white garage that stood in the rear of the house on that side. Presently, a slender woman in dark coat and hat came into sight hurrying from house to garage. It was Mrs. Wilson. She drove away in a black coupe. I went back to my chair and waited. 3/4 of an hour went by. At 5 minutes after 11, automobile brakes screeched outside. 2 minutes later, Mrs. Wilson came into the room. She had taken off her hat and coat. Her face was white, her eyes almost black. "I'm awfully sorry," she said, her tight-lipped mouth moving jerkily. "But you've had all this waiting for nothing. My husband won't be home tonight." I said I would get in touch with him at the Herald in the morning. I went away wondering why the green toe of her left slipper was dark and damp with something that could have been blood. I walked over to Broadway and caught a streetcar. 3 blocks north of my hotel, I got off to see what the crowd was doing around a side entrance of the city hall. 30 or 40 men and a sprinkling of women stood on the sidewalk looking at a door marked Police Department. There were men from mines and smelters still in their working clothes, gaudy boys from pool rooms and dance halls, sleek men with slick pale faces, men with the dull look of respectable husbands, a few just as respectable and dull women, and some ladies of the night. On the edge of this congregation I stopped beside a square-set man in rumpled gray clothes. His face was grayish, too, even the thick lips, though he wasn't much older than 30. His face was broad, thick-featured, and intelligent. For color, he depended on a red Windsor tie that blossomed over his gray flannel shirt. "What's the rumpus?" I asked him. He looked at me carefully before he replied, as if he wanted to be sure that the information was going to be in safe hands. His eyes were gray as his clothes, but not so soft. "Don Wilson's gone to sit at the right hand of God, if God don't mind looking at bullet holes." "Who shot him?" I asked. The gray man scratched the back of his neck and said, "Somebody with a gun." I wanted information, not wit. I would have tried my luck with some other member of the crowd if the red tie hadn't interested me. I said, "I'm a stranger in town. Hang the Punch and Judy on me. That's what strangers are for. Donald Wilson, Esquire, publisher of the Morning and Evening Heralds, was found in Hurricane Street a little while ago, shot very dead by parties unknown," he recited in a rapid sing-song. "Does that keep your feelings from being hurt?" "Thanks." I put out a finger and touched a loose end of his tie. "Mean anything, or just wearing it?" "I'm Bill Quint." "The hell you are!" I exclaimed, trying to place the name. "By God, I'm glad to meet you." I dug out my card case and ran through the collection of credentials I had picked up here and there.